Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hindu Explain series. I am Kushagra Goyal and I hope all of you are doing fine at home with regards to your preparations while during the stressful times of the pandemic. Okay, so yesterday a lot of students did post in the comment section that there was some sound issue, and we have contacted YouTube with regards to that because it's something not on our part but with regards to the YouTube platform itself. Okay, so we are in touch with YouTube and hopefully the issue will get resolved. So apologies are in the order with regards to that. Okay, secondly, a lot of students have been asking with regards to doing the series a little earlier. We're trying to incorporate that and hopefully we'll be able to come out with the videos at an earlier point of time. Okay, now with regards to doubts from yesterday's newspaper. Okay, so with regards to the editorial, the main editorial did talk about public expenditure being increased and the government should adopt a more aggressive expenditure regime for the recovery of the economy. Okay, and the term that a lot of students didn't understand was fiscal conservatism. Okay, so what is fiscal? Fiscal means that the revenue that a government generates from its taxes or otherwise, right? So that is the money that you have. Now what does fiscal expenditure would mean? Fiscal expenditure would mean that I earned 100 rupees and I spent 100 rupees, or I spent 89 rupees or something, right? That is my expenditure. Now with regards to governments, sovereign states, okay, they are capable of spending far more than what they actually earn, because people are willing to give leverage to governments because there is authority. The states will never run away, right? India as a state will never go away. There is no place for India to go, right? Or any other country. So people or banks, whenever they lend money to governments or governments spend far more than they actually have, that is okay in economic practice. Okay, but what does fiscal conservatism mean? Fiscal conservatism means that government is not actually spending enough, right? So we have a fiscal deficit, and the target for fiscal deficit with regards to our budgets have been 3 to 3.5%, right? But because this is a pandemic, okay, prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, Indian economy was already in a slowdown. For the past 18 months, 18 quarters, the Indian economy was on a downward trial, right? So ever since the demonetization exercise, the economy had been receding. So there was increasing pressure that, see, because the people don't have money, the government should spend, right? But the government had been in compliant with its fiscal deficit target of 3 to 3.5%. What is the fiscal deficit target mean? That government can only spend up to 3% more than its own income. But now that there is over a slowing economy, there is now a pandemic and people have lost more jobs, right? Unemployment was already on a high and then it has increased after the COVID-19 pandemic. And how can we recover from it? That is the opinion that economists are saying, that see, if the government is spending more, okay, they can take up their fiscal deficit up to 5 to 6% to give people money, because when government spends, it gives money back to the people, it creates more jobs in the economy, and that is the idea. So fiscal conservatism is the opposite, that when there is a need, the private sector isn't spending. If the private sector or people who had money would have been spending their money, then there would have been jobs in the economy. But that isn't the case, right? Unemployment is on a high in the Indian economy, and so the burden is now on the government. But because that is not happening, the term that economists are using is fiscal conservatism, when the government can spend but is choosing not to spend that money. Okay, then another doubt that some students had was with regards to this approach, right? That why public sector undertakings are not being considered. Now, the idea is that, see, during the Great Depression, public sector undertakings or socialist economy as a concept was the buzzword, okay? In the 20th century, socialist economies were the buzzword, but Soviet Union disintegrated in the 1990s, right? Because public sector undertakings, it was seen that they have a threshold. They can thrive only up to a certain limit, or they are highly inefficient in the sense that, see, they are incapable of making profits or creating wealth. Okay, so that is why they fell out of order. Okay, but now Indian economy has high unemployment. Okay, there are not enough jobs in the private sector, but there are people who are wanting for jobs, right? There are people who need jobs to feed themselves, to feed their uh, needs. So how can that be addressed? That is the idea, that if you create more government expenditure, then more not on public sector undertakings, but government spending, for example, on infrastructure projects. Let's say India announces a large scale expenditure drive to make all electric wires underground. Okay, so that will require a lot of investment, right? A lot of people need to be hired, a lot of technical persons will need to be hired. So that creates more jobs, right? So if a government announces such policies, then it can create more jobs, right? Because government will then send out tenders, those private companies who apply for tender will then have to hire people, and that would kickstart the economy in some way. And that is why yesterday's editorial did talk about government spending more. Okay, now the last doubt that I'll be covering for today's video is one that a lot of students have been asking, that how many articles of the constitution should a student study with regards to CLAT preparation. Okay, so some things are essential for you all to study, which is with regards to the schedules, then the fundamental rights, the DPSPs, and other major articles with regards to parts. Okay, so for example, union, or where the attorney general is, or under what article is the prime minister appointed, or under what power does the president have the power to appoint the chief justice. So those kinds of articles, so for example, election commission 368, amendment procedure. Okay, so all those articles do become important. Those are essential. Okay, not every article can be important, but these are essential. They can always come. Fundamental rights are always in news. Okay, citizenship, because CAA is in news, so you have to know that from 5 to 11 articles are for citizenship. It is part 2 of the Indian constitution. So those kinds of things you have to know. Okay, they are basic knowledge of CLAT preparation. Okay, now not wasting more time on this, we'll dive into the today's newspaper. So on the front page there is a news that Serum Institute and Bharat Biotech emergency vaccine clearance is on hold. Okay, so what does this mean? For the past 2 days I have been talking that there have been editorials that these companies have not released their efficacy data, that they have not released information that is needed for the government to determine whether their vaccine is safe or not. And that is exactly what this decision implies, that the clearance has been kept on hold because not enough details have been provided with regards to this. Okay, so that is the update for us. See, with regards to vaccine video, we had covered it on the day when Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited 3 Indian pharmaceutical companies. Okay, all the Indian candidates we had discussed. We have covered the 3 international vaccines also, Moderna, Pfizer, and the Oxford vaccine. Okay, so do check out the previous videos. I have been saying this series is something that is essential for CLAT preparation from the beginning, and you should watch previous episodes of the series even if you haven't watched them now, or you think because that has become part of old news. We highly recommend that you do, so that all the stories that we cover you are able to grasp them on the go. Okay, on the left hand side then there is cabinets not for public Wi-Fi networks. This is a scheme that was said has been PM Vani will be the scheme. It will be one which will create more public hotspots. So for example, at railway stations, government had tied up with Google and Facebook to provide Wi-Fi. Now it will tie up. Previously we used to have like PCOs, right, where there were public telephones where you could put in coins and then connect to people. Now because we have so much mobile phones, they went out of order. Now it is to create public Wi-Fi hotspots to make people buy more broadband internet rather than over the top internet. Okay, now again with regards to farmer protest, it's the stalemate is going on. The government hasn't given in to the demands of the farmers, and the farmers have vowed to intensify their protest. Okay, the update with regards to is something we have to see. There is another Supreme Court judgment that had come out yesterday. The only update with regards to this is that the Supreme Court has stated that there is no need for governments, local health authorities to paste posters on the house of people who have contacted COVID. Okay, so there is a practice you must have seen if you know anyone who had contracted COVID-19, that government health officials will come and paste a poster outside your house that this and this person have contacted COVID, and make sure that you stay away. Now that had led to stigmatization of such individuals even beyond their recovery from the disease. So the Supreme Court has stated that there is no need for sticking posters. You can just keep a database of it with yourself. Okay. Now, with regards to the Citizenship Amendment Act, the rules of the act have not yet been framed. A couple of days ago, one of the leaders from the ruling party had stated that the exercise for it will begin in January onwards. But the Ministry of Home Affairs has come out in a reply to the RTI application that the rules are still being framed. The act cannot become effective until the rules are framed. Okay, rules are framed by the body created within the act. So either the spokesperson of the ruling party has been unknown with regards to this, or some mismatch of information is provided in the RTI. Nevertheless, once the rules come out, they become important for our discussion. Okay. Then there is an update from the Indus Valley Civilization that they have found consumption of meat during the Indus Valley Civilization in the older Indus Valley. So if students of history would know that Indus Valley Civilization is divided into three parts, which is earlier, early and late, and then the middle part is known as the mature culture. Okay, when the civilization was at its peak. Okay, so this is an update that they have found remains of meat in pottery found in Rakhigadi in Haryana and other sites in Uttar Pradesh, okay, of Indus Valley Civilization. That's just an update for you all, not for history buffs whosoever is watching. Okay, now on the national news, again, there is most of it is political, nothing of real relevance. There is information updates on the farm bills, not really relevant for us from our preparation point of view. There is one update that we will be talking about, which is on the national news page, which regard to a poet author passing away of the Hindi language. Okay, on the right hand side you can see that there is an update on wildlife sanctuary around Kaziranga. Okay, it is stated that, see, the Assam's Pobitora region wildlife sanctuary has been, the rhinos are suffering because there is less grasslands for them to feed on, and there is high concentration of cattle. Now this happens when food chains become mismatched. Okay, so how do ecosystems contain themselves continuously? The idea is that they are able to do it through a natural food chain. So the cattle comes, then above them are the the tertiary consumers, that is tigers and other meat eaters. So they control the population of cattle. But as you know, humans are the ones who can sustain cattle themselves, and then they dispose them. So the natural food chain is really broken there. And because there is no control over cattle, there is now less food for all the animals to consume. So this natural cycle is broken down because of human intervention, and that is what we call not sustainable development. Okay, and why humanity needs to move towards more sustainable, because our needs are ensuring that other wild animals are suffering because of us. Okay, and that is something that our generation has to keep in mind, that we don't consume more than what we really need. Okay, and we don't consume above what other animals are feeding on. Okay, the name of the wildlife sanctuary is something you can keep in mind, because it's with regards to the one-horned rhinoceros, which is always in news. It's a near threatened species in India. Poaching always, it's a prime target of poachers. So that is why I'm discussing this topic, and it also relates to sustainable development. Okay, now on the editorial page, okay, most of the editorials are updates not really relevant from CLAT preparation point of view. The main editorial is by ex-security advisor M.K. Narayanan, and he's talking about how the status of India in international affairs, or vis-a-vis different international affairs. Okay, it's just morely an update or a point of view with regards to how India is being perceived outside. One of the primary things that he's saying, that world is becoming skeptical of Indian democracy across the globe, because it is seen that India's democracy quotient is diminishing over time, and the country is at its loggerheads with each other, in the sense that political parties see each other as opponents, not political opponents but as enemies of the state. Now that creates mistrust in the people's mind, and something that divides the country, something that has been happening in United States, which is not welcoming. So that is an article, you all can give it a read for security interest of India, a general overview but not specific information from CLAT perspective. Okay, on the left hand side it is the road taken. Okay, this is a Salem Greenfield highway, may now a fait accompli after Supreme Court verdict. Now this is an approval to a project given by the Supreme Court. Okay, it's a new highway between Chennai and Salem, a greenfield highway. What does a greenfield mean? So for example, a greenfield project means that something being created from scratch, but a brownfield project is something when you update. So for example, when the new 2010 Commonwealth Games had happened, the Nehru Stadium in Delhi, the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium, known as JLN Stadium, where the opening ceremony had taken place, was refurbished. Okay, so that refurbishing is a brownfield project. Okay, but when we create stadiums from the ground up, from scratch, that is known as a greenfield project. Okay, so this highway is a greenfield project. What did the Supreme Court state in this order was that environmental clearance of the project has to be taken later on. Okay, once land acquisition is in place, and then the environmental impact will be considered. Okay, but the editorial is criticizing the Supreme Court for towing the line of the executive and not with regards to environment. Okay, this is a classic conflict between environment versus development. Okay, so the government has a responsibility of development. The order was that you have to first undertake an environmental clearance of the High Court. Okay, that you first undertake an environmental clearance, and then based on that you can decide whether you want to go ahead with the project or not. But now the Supreme Court has stated that no, the law says that you start with the project once you start beginning the process of land acquisition, and once all of that is in place, then you can determine whether it's environmentally sustainable or not. But the point is that if you have taken environmental studies previously before you acquire land, then you have a better knowledge and less resources are spent and less time is taken, because eventually if you do all this land acquisition and survey and then it is that this project is environmentally unsustainable, you would waste so much resources. Plus, because climate change is one of the priority of most of the population, with even the government at the center, where Prime Minister Modi has been talking about most of his policies being environmentally sustainable. Okay, so in that regard, the Supreme Court should have taken a more progressive view. Now that is something for policy analysts, not for us. Okay, but I've just updated you. You need to keep these two terms in mind. Rest everything is not relevant with regards to this project. Okay, now testing limits. This is an article with regards to India-Australia test series that is about to begin, whether, how India will face. Okay, now on the second editorial is 1000 days of nutrition and a billion dreams. This is the Poshan Abhiyan and an editorial about the Poshan Abhiyan, which is to fulfill the hunger needs and nutritional needs of the hungry population in India. And it is stated that this is a dream, because see, India may not be going hungry, but India is not being nutritionally fulfilled. Okay, so the Poshan Abhiyan is a program with that regard, not really relevant from CLAT perspective, but we need to know what the program name is. Okay, moving on the OPED page, again there is not really much content for our point of view. Okay, so on the right hand side is stirring the pot in Venezuela. So Venezuela elections had taken place for the National Assembly. On insistence of the US, the Venezuelan opposition parties boycotted the elections. Okay, and the current incumbent president, President Maduro, his party has now got majority in the National Assembly also, something that he didn't have previously. Now this is an editorial which states that, see, it is because of US intervention that all this political crisis is brewing in Venezuela, and things don't look up, because the incoming President Joe Biden also does not look at President Maduro favorably, and the word he has used for him is a thug. Okay, so that the editorial states that relationship between Venezuela and US and the sanctions on Venezuela don't seem to be getting over anytime soon. On the left hand side, it's with regards to the economy. Okay, so you know, quarterly data of our economic recovery came, and India did better than what most of the Indian agencies and even RBI were thinking, that the economy only contracted by 7.5. Okay, and now this is an editorial which states on economic aspect. Okay, that how do we compute this, and how this data of quarterly review is not reliable per se. So that's purely on economic front, not relevant from CLAD perspective at all. Okay, then new paradigm for Dravidism. This is a political analysis between Dravid politics and Hindutva politics, not relevant from our point. Okay, on the data point, there is analysis of fatalities per cases in India and based on different states. You can go through it. It's just important just to see how the trends are going with regards to the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, now the reporting deaths in India are receding every week. Some states are doing better than others. In some states there is a rise. So all that trend is what we can notice from the data point. The cartoon is something that is so showing the old parliamentary building, remembering the moment when Prime Minister Narendra Modi had entered the parliament building and had cried at the footsteps, and now today he is going to do a stone laying ceremony of the new parliament building, and the old parliament building has become redundant and will become a museum. Okay, then on the national front, again there is not much news relevance for us. Foreign people from different ambassadors have been visiting to check cold storage facilities. Foreign envoys visit vaccine facilities. Okay, because you know that the two vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna need to be kept at -70 degrees, so cold storage facilities need to come up. The government is preparing for such facilities. This is a look at those facilities. Okay, nothing really relevant from our perspective. Now again, on the national front, there is an anti slaughter slaughter ban in Karnataka now on beef and buffalo meat. That is the update. Nothing really relevant apart from that. Okay, then again more political news, not really relevant. Then here is an update with regards to certain comments that have been made between on Quad by Russia. Okay, now this has to be seen in more political scenario, but the thing that you need to keep in mind is the grouping of Quad and agreements that India signs over the year. Okay, so that becomes relevant whenever in your heading of summits. Keep in mind when the summits have been, and what agreements have been signed with regards to that. Okay, that is it, and this is an update from MEA Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar, where he is stating that, see, the relationship between China cannot become normal until the situation at border changes. And his comment is that we can't have think of everything as normal while while our soldiers are fighting on the borders. Okay, now there is update with regards to the NRC in Assam. The Assam NRC had excluded 19 lakh people, and now an update affidavit has been filed before the High Court to exclude 4,800 people more from the NRC. Okay, so that means that the NRC is not something that is final. Keep on going on. Okay, on the right hand side there is update with regards to Brexit talks. Okay, which will be happening and what the deal is. With regards to Brexit talks, why we haven't discussed it in depth is because, see, the talks have been changing ever since the referendum was held. Okay, 2016, it has led to resignation of 2 prime ministers in Britain, 2 snap elections, 1 major election, and yet the talks have been inconclusive. So there is no point wasting your time over updates until something really concrete is in place. Okay, that is why once the talks are finalized, it makes more sense, because otherwise you all will get confused with regards to what is the update and where to begin and where to end. Okay, now on the left hand side, US Supreme Court rejects. This is with regards to Donald Trump's claim of election fraud which have been rejected by courts across the United States. It has been happening. There is trouble in Pakistan where there is a chance of new elections happening because the opposition is putting on pressure and will resign en masse. And then there is one news that we will be discussing: UAE approving Chinese vaccine, that we will be discussing. On the economic front, there is the case of Tata Sons versus Cyrus Mistry is going on. Updates are taking place. Whether he will be reinstated or not, all that thing is what is being considered by the court. Okay. Apart from that, there is not much update for us. From the sporting front, nothing new. Now, in the in-depth analysis, okay. So the first thing is the passing away of Manglesh Dabral. Okay, he was a Hindi poet from Uttarakhand. The reason why we need to remember him is because he had won the Sahitya Academy Award for in 2000 for what novel? Hum Jo Dekhte Hain. Okay, so that becomes relevant. The year also becomes relevant is that he returned his award in 2015 in protest for the killing of M.M. Kulburgi. Okay, he was another public intellectual who had been assassinated, and that investigation is not yet complete. Okay, so this is the update. The name becomes relevant. The Sahitya Academy Award and the year in which it was given, for what it was given becomes. So this is a person in news section for you all. Okay, then is the news with regards to the vaccine. Okay, so UAE, United Arab Emirates, has approved a Chinese vaccine. Okay, public details with regards to Chinese vaccine are not available. Okay, the reason why we don't know how effective these vaccines are, because see, unlike the vaccines from US, Germany, India, Oxford, they publish their entire procedure where scientists across the world can verify, redo the process and see if it actually works or not. Okay, the scientific community works on the system of peer review. Okay, peer means people who are in the same profession as you. So that is what is discussed. Okay, and this vaccine is by a Chinese company known as Sinopharm. And what is the vaccine about? It uses an inactivated form of coronavirus. Okay, so there are two vaccines, the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine are mRNA vaccines. That is a new technology. This is the old one where you inject the virus in a either a diminished form or mutated virus, how it is used in the Oxford vaccine. Okay, so this is the form of the vaccine by which company, and UAE then has become the second country in the world to approve a vaccine after UK. Okay, so this is the update. The UK had approved the vaccine from US, and UAE has approved the vaccine from UAE. So today is 10th December. There are two updates that happens. The 10th December is known as World Human Rights Day. The question for you all is, since when have we been celebrating the World's Human Rights Day, and what document was signed on this day in remembrance of which we celebrate the World's Human Rights Day? Second is, on this day every year the Nobel Prize for Peace is awarded, right? But this year it won't be happening. But as I had promised, I will discuss the Nobel Prizes today and for who and all have been given the Nobel Prizes. So the first award we'll be discussing is the Medicine Award. Who has been given the Medicine Award? It is Harvey J. Alter and Charles M. Rice, who are British scientist Michael Houghton. Okay, they have been awarded the award for their discovery of the hepatitis C virus. Okay, the virus was discovered in 1982, and there is some details about the hepatitis virus. It comes in 5 types. Okay, and World Hepatitis Day is celebrated on 28 July. So a number of things for you all to remember: the award, people who have been given it, when the disease was discovered, and on what day do we celebrate as World Hepatitis Day to create awareness about it. So this is the Medicine Nobel Prize. Okay? Now moving on, the Nobel Prize for Physics. The Nobel Prize for Physics has been awarded again to 3 individuals. Okay, for astrophysics, Roger Penrose, Reinhard Genzel and Andrea Ghez from US. Okay, why they have been given? With regards to their theory of black hole formation. Black holes, as you know, in number of movies, it's a point of huge amount of mass and energy which can suck up energy it is the mass and energy of a black hole is so strong that light deflects from it. Okay, so nothing that goes into the black hole can come out is the theory. Okay, so Genzel and Guess have received the second half of the prize for discovery of supermassive black holes, which was Sagittarius A. So that is the thing, that what did they discover? Sagittarius A. Okay, and then the term black hole was coined by American physicist John Archibald Wheeler. Okay, and Einstein, Albert Einstein, had theorized black holes way back in 1915. Okay, so a number of things that are there for you all to remember. Okay, Roger Penrose for his black hole formation theory, Guess and Genzel for the supermassive black hole they have discovered, Sagittarius A. Who coined the term? When it was theorized first, it was by Albert Einstein. Okay, then the Nobel Prize in Chemistry is for gene scissor or gene editing. It has been given to Emmanuel Charpentier and Jennifer Doudna. In chemistry, 2 women have been given the award for the first time. A woman only team. This is the first time a woman only team has been given. Okay, CRISPR or Cas9 genetic scissors are used to make amendments to your DNA. Okay, so that is the purpose. The full form of CRISPR is short for clustered, regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. Okay, so that is something you have to remember yourself. What does this stand for and who have been given this award? Okay, now the Literature Nobel Nobel Award has been given to US poet Louise Gluyck. Okay, and she had won the Pulitzer Prize in 1993 and had won a National Book Award for her latest collection, which is Faithful and the Virtuous Knight. Okay, for the Nobel Prize there is not one collection, but the poet for his contributions is generally awarded. Okay, so and then the Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, the Nobel Peace Prize has gone to our UN agency, which is World Food Program. You know that during COVID-19 time, the world is facing food shortage, hunger is increasing, and the World Food Program as an agency has been working for eradication of hunger and increasing food security. So hunger removal and food security are two different terms. Okay, hunger removal means that you give people food. Food security means that you ensure enough food is produced so that no one goes hungry. Okay, those are two different concepts, and it was established in 1965 and is headquartered in Rome, Italy. Okay, then the last award, which is the Nobel Prize for Economics. Okay, it is for auction theory, given to Paul Milgrom and Robert Wilson. Okay, the award is known as the Nobel Prize for Economics wasn't originally created by Alfred Nobel in his will. Okay, it has been created at a later point of time, and that is why it is called by a different name, but we still call it the Nobel Prize for Economics. Okay, just like we call the Abel Prize for mathematics as the Nobel Prize, right? So that is the way it is, and they had developed Robert Wilson for his theory of auctions. Auctions, as you know, has become a methodology in India for allotment of coal blocks, for allotment of spectrums. So how does that theory actually put in place is how Robert Wilson and Paul Milgrom have contributed. Okay, so their names become important, the theory they have done. And you know, Nobel Prize is something you can never discount with regards to your preparation. That is something you have to keep in mind and prepare. Thank you so much with regards to the news today. Do make notes of the Nobel Prize. That really becomes important. Okay, any doubts that you have with regards to their awards or something that you don't understand, feel free to put it down in the comment section and I'll be happy to address them. Thank you so much for watching. Keep revising with regards to your preparation. That is the key to success. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and share it further. And if you are one of those who haven't subscribed to the channel, we highly recommend you subscribe so that you don't miss the update for tomorrow. Thank you.